flooding.
I know.
So.
I know. Well, when I first went down there, they told me I ran into a guy, and I was, and I was saying, what would we do if it floods? He was saying, it floods from time to time, and I said, well, what would we do when it floods? He says most of us, get a canoe or a little flat bottom boat.
A pirogue.
And he says, and we go from bar to bar. He says we paddle down the street and go bar hopping. He says most of the bars are throwing a party. And he says, of course, now he wasn't talking about as big a flood as they had. He was.
Yeah, but I bet you anything that a lot of the bars stayed open in the French Quarter, which did not flood. So they could easily stay open. They might not have had any power. They probably had warm beer. But they probably still had plenty of beer.
Well.
And they were probably already printing up the T-shirts.
I survived
Katrina, because when I lived there, I thought, this place, if you had an atomic bomb attack here, within hours you would have a T-shirt saying, I survived the atomic bomb attack.
When I lived down in Coconut Grove, there was it turned out to be Tropical Storm David. I think it never got to hurricane proportion, but it was coming up the coast, and all the tourists were coming up from the Keys up US 1. It was bumper to bumper. They were getting out of the Keys.
That'd be hard to get out of the Keys.
Yeah,
because that's just one road. Was that 4 lanes?
Yeah.
Did they send it all one way?
Yeah, and it was just as thick as it could be.
Yeah.
And it was just bumper to bumper.
Well, that's what you essentially have that in New Orleans. Because you have like 3 or 4 roads to get out of there.
I know. You can count them on one hand. The roads out.
Yeah.
I know it. So anyway, so I saw that, and I looked at that, and I ran down to the T-shirt shop where I had friends that made T-shirts, and I said, quick, make up some T-shirts that say I survived Hurricane Dennis or David or whatever it was, and we printed those things up. We printed up T-shirts, and I ran back out there with arms full of them, and I was walking up and down US 1 right in the middle of traffic, selling those T-shirts. That's what I did. You're with me on that, aren't you? Is that the way it's done?
Yeah.
That's entrepreneur right there.
Yes, absolutely.
And so here comes along like the News 11 or whatever, the news truck, and they're videoing me. So they put me on the there was a news report all about the hurricane was coming and all this stuff, and it showed people boarding up their windows and people trying to get out of the Keys and all this kind of stuff, and it says and some local entrepreneurs have
cashed in
on it, and they showed me selling those T-shirts out, rolling down their windows and throwing money at me, and me throwing T-shirts in their cars.
I tell you, when I lived there and I had a business there, that was the money-making thing, is having those T-shirt shops. Those things make big bucks.
They can.
Big bucks.
They can. And New Orleans is a place for that. New Orleans is well known for making some money.
Okay, so now it's coming to Asheville.
So we got to make Asheville T-shirts, don't we?
T-shirts. I survived Belshare. I survived the storm. I
survived Belshare 07.
Yes.
Right. Get out there now. If you get busy printing those T-shirts up tonight, you can have them on the street by tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
When everybody gets the Belshare.
Absolutely.
You can have arms full of them.
I survived Friday night storm at Belshare.
Right. I found parking at Belshare 07.
I paid a fortune for parking at Belshare.
I know it. I didn't see any $5 parking. $10 parking was the cheapest I saw.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Well, down on the other side of Green Life.
Yeah.
You know where the Asheville Planet house is? That used to be the costume shop down there.
Yeah, I know. Uh-huh.
Okay. So on the opposite side of that is a parking lot for that building.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a big old sign out there. Belshare parking, $5.
$5. There it is. And so you only have to walk, what?
Half a mile.
Half a mile. For $5, you can only walk a half a mile.
Yeah.
I had to be downtown. I had an errand I had to run downtown.
I don't go down there during Belshare.
And I didn't know. I had forgotten it was Belshare. And suddenly, as I'm driving up on town, here are barricades and everything else. Well, you know, and if
you have to know the way to work around that, you know.
You should have seen the way I worked around that. And then I got to one place and I was going to be sneaky, and I looked over there and there was a cop watching me. You know, and I got.
Did you put on your innocent face?
I parked in a no parking zone that said no parking, we will tow. And got out of my truck and walked the rest of the way. But I was inside the first line of barriers. I was inside the first line of barriers. And I was and got a long block and a half inside the first line of barriers. And then pulled into a parking lot where I was going to pull out another way, but they had blocked off the other end of that parking lot with a barrier. And so I parked in the do not park here, we will tow spot, and headed out on foot from there. You know, so got my chores done and got back here, but you know, it did make me run in a little late, but I'm always running late.
Yeah. What's new?
It's a rare show that I've really got everything set up on time. Yeah. Sometimes it happens, but more often than not, I'll be running late on something. Well, tell us, what have you been up to? I've been doing a lot of talking. Tell us some of the stuff you've been up to.
I've been working.
You've been getting out of orders.
Working my little fingers to the bone.
Getting out some orders.
Getting out orders. That's about it.
For straw hats. Is that?
Hats and silk gardenias, and that's about it.
So it's been a big year for silk gardenias.
Well, all of a sudden I got like an order for about 2 dozen of them. They're very time consuming to do, and the stuff that I make it out of, which is Duchess satin, which is a really heavy satin. It's very hard to work with, so I've been.
It looks like we are not going to flood after all.
Yeah, it looks like it eased off, doesn't it? Just in time.
It was getting pretty close to the edge there, though.
Jonathan was getting tweaky about it. What was it? He was beginning to panic, wasn't he?
He was preparing.
Yep.
He was preparing.
Well, folks, I have a dinner engagement, so I have to go.
Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, I get to eat and you don't.
I know. Do you have a ride picking you up, or
Yes,
okay.
I have a ride picking me up.
Has your ride come?
Probably been here about 10 minutes.
He just pulled up a minute ago, actually.
All right. Well, I think I probably know him. Tell him hello.
Okay.
And tell him to drop by for tea sometime.
I will.
And,
I will. There's one of my long hairs in the teapot. I had teacup there.
Right. Okay.
We'll see you next week.
It's been good.
Take care.
Bye, people.
Okay. I'll tighten up a little bit on our action here then. So much for that. So, well, tell us about you. What have you been up to? Making the bagels.
Making the bagels, yeah. Making the bagels. Lining up subjects and themes for my live hour on Saturday. And as I mentioned, fretting over the fact that there was no Mount Dungeon last night.
Oh, well, just let me say, I forgot to mention this, but your live hour last week, I really feel it was nearly a milestone for Anarchy TV, for URTV. In appearance alone, it was just great.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thank you.
And as you know, you and I had worked on the lighting scheme for the studio, which was a great part of it too.
Yeah.
But the control room shot, I was so happy to see the control room shot used. I love control room shots, and I just, that was just that. And plus which there was intelligent conversation, and
that helps a lot.
Yeah, and everything else going on too. So there were a lot of aspects to it. You know, it wasn't just all visual. But I've got to say, I think I told you last week. Did I tell you that? What? That.
Do you need any more TVs to be given to you?
Oh, why, you got a bunch of TVs? I mean,
like regular old boxy TVs.
Perhaps. Why? Does it work?
Yeah.
Okay. You want rid of it?
Yeah.
So have a remote control.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Do you want it?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Jen Mass described it. She said, ooh, it looked like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. She said it opened up looking like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and it says, and then it changed to they looked like then it went into the close-ups and stuff and said with the lights on them and all, it said that it looked like they were in prison in Russia somewhere or something. Yeah, and then on it went from there. For anybody who was lucky enough to see it. So I don't know. I take it that you got that was the most inspiring of your live shows for you personally. Was that true?
So far, yeah. It was especially great because I went into it having no idea what I was going to be doing. I thought I might be doing the whole hour by myself, and people just came in, and fortunately I was prepared ahead of time and managed to get everything just set up. And the unfortunate part was I was so busy getting everything set up that I forgot, as soon as we went live, I forgot to start recording it, and I accidentally did not record it all.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh well.
Did you record some portion?
Yeah.
Okay, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm often 30 minutes late hitting the record button and stuff because
I was actually exactly halfway through. I'd be like, bam.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. I mean, and if you don't have a technical director whose job is just to be the technical director, that's going to happen. That is going to happen. Now, see, for this show, obviously I'm the technical director.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm also the dishwasher, the tea brewer, the cameraman, the host of the show. So, we're putting a plea out for a couple of cameramen. We would like, if you have interest in videography and you would like to contribute to the production values of the Mad Scientists Tea Party, we would like to try to encourage a couple of folks to come along that would like to get behind working some of these cameras so that they can, follow the action a little bit. Like right now, we could reframe this, I don't know, whatever. Maybe we should all just get over this way. I don't know. And it might have been good when the singing troupe came in and various things. So maybe if a couple of folks who like to do that, they could come and also drink tea, and maybe like one of them could man the camera while one had tea for a while, and then they could swap places. I'm dreaming of having a crew of cameramen. They have to swap places. We've had a running thing regularly. Anybody who comes in and is so inclined as to want to change the camera shot to something that pleases them more, or they're generally encouraged to do so.
Indeed they are.
And so, but we're actually trying now to get more of that kind of stuff. All right, I'm gonna give you a cardioid mic now. Boom. All right, now you have a cardioid pattern. See that? See what you.
And how do I sound now?
Well, keep talking.
And I'm keeping talking.
I can hardly hear you.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
It's taken a while to recover.
Okay.
Recover its bias.
Recycle and.
Oh yeah, you're. You want to hear? What'd you say?
I'd love to.
This is a good one. Okay. Sorry, sweaty headphones. I know.
Okay, this is the sound of my own voice in this microphone, and it's beautiful.
It's a nice mic, isn't it? It's actually a better mic than this one.
Really? And you just save it for special occasions or something? Or just taking a while to get around to busting it out?
Wait a minute, I've got it on you backwards too. Wait a minute, wait till you hear yourself talking in the right side of it. Now it'll be even better.
Okay. And I think it's in the center position actually. Is that the circle A?
It is. It'll take a while to recover probably.
Okay, and just wait a minute.
You can't hear it yet, can you?
Nope.
Okay.
It whatever function it was on was clicked down, and it's probably going to take a minute.
Anyway, it was on an Omni. Then it does an Omni, a figure eight, and a cardioid, which it should be there now.
Yeah.
Are you hearing yourself?
Indeed, I am.
And how do you like the sound of that?
I like it.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. So, for those at home wondering what we're talking about, either full 360, an area here, or just here. And I'm just
right, here. Which I believe is actually more versatile than any mic we have in our cabinet here, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think anything we've got does a figure eight, does it? No.
I don't think so.
Can't think of any. We've got omnis and cardioids, which gets us by.
Yeah.
Figure eights are usually a little special.
Well, I look forward to getting by more with them. I'm really dying to set this. I really want to set those two up tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
for interview. Yeah.
Oh, for the interview.
Yeah. For the. I'm not sure what I'll be doing for miking Mount Dungeon tomorrow, but for the interview, I want to use those, and I want to use those for my live show in the big studio.
Yeah, I have told JJ and I have been meeting secretly, and at various places and things. I've been monitoring his spider bites. Have you seen JJ's spider bites?
No.
Well, JJ was out with Jen. They were at a concert. JJ and Jen were both at the same concert, and some spider jumped on JJ. And by the time he brushed the thing off, looked like he must have had a half dozen bites.
Ew.
And when I saw them, they were starting to leave circles this big around the center and of them. And I mean, I was worried about his spider bites, but now his spider bites are looking a lot better. And they're going away, and he's going to be okay. You know. And
no doubt JJ's just loves the description of his spider bites on live TV.
Perhaps.
Hi, JJ.
But his spider bites are getting better, and we're glad. And I don't know what all that was leading up to. It had something to do with JJ and I have been talking.
Yes.
About that it's difficult for you to do audio and be the host of the show.
Sometimes. I mean. Specifically, the audio for the interviews usually sucks.
Okay. So I was telling Jay, I said, I need to come and help out with audio, don't I? And he says, yes, you do. You need to come and help out with audio.
Well, we'd love to have you tomorrow.
I am lamely volunteering. I believe, even as lame as I may be, that I will be better than your last volunteer.
I have absolutely no doubt of that whatsoever.
So that's what I will try. I will try to be better than your last volunteer. I may be running.
You mean the one that didn't show up?
Yeah, that one. The one that's never shown up, and
the one that didn't show up before that.
That one. Yeah. So I will try to, and I will try to show up, and I will try not to be running late. You know how I am, and I will try and remember. You can help me. You can give me a buzz, say a half hour or so.
I can do that.
Before time, and hope that my phone is within range that I hear it and get and make me remember. I have a real bad habit of waking up on Saturday and going, oh, what do I have to do? You know, and it's like, oh, it's Saturday. Nothing. Oh, it's Saturday. You know, and then be well into the day before I remember. Oh, well, no, there was that. You know what I mean. Yes.
Well, I'll give you a call tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're really not sure what's going on tomorrow. Some guy who's been on before, the Cream Abdul guitar episode, which aired not too long ago. One of the guys on it, Charlie, is bringing some friends or something, and they're going to get experimental.
Okay.
So I have no idea what to expect.
And then the next show after that is going to be VFW, I think.
I think so. I'm not sure.
And if you think experimental is chaotic, y'all don't know chaotic yet, you know. So, you know, I mean, they might even be well described as a techno chaos band. I think I've created a new category. It's called Techno Chaos.
Techno Chaos.
Right. So if you're in VFW, or if you know anyone in VFW, and I know you do, Sister Discordian, we know you know someone in VFW, but if whoever get in touch with them and tell them that they have been recategorized into a shape static techno chaos. What was it? Techno what?
Techno chaotic.
Shape static techno chaotic band. I think they'll like that.
I hope so. How are you on gas and all that?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
I put a couple of bucks in. You know, it's the greatest thing. You know, I go up to the gas pump now and I go in and, you know, I give the guy, you know, $5 on number one. You know, I put it in my truck and I drive from the gas station, you know, just down the road home, going up the driveway. Like the little yellow light comes on and it goes bing, 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 bing. Low fuel, low fuel. And I just put $5 on it. I thought I'd run all week, you know. Right? I don't know. I'm not real realistic. I think that I think there's some aspects where my mind doesn't
work.
With
a small car 15 years ago, $5 will get you all week. These days, with your pickup truck, no.
No, up the driveway, I'm talking. You know? Yeah. It's that bad.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how? You know, so I started putting $10 in. Well, when I put $10 in, I think I can drive all day. You know what I mean? So, like, I'll go over to, like, a friend's house, right? I'll be miles from home. And when and as I'm arriving at the friend's house, the little light comes on and it starts this bing, 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 low fuel thing. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how can I get miles from home? How am I going to get home now? So then I have to go in and beg my friends for gas money. And it's like, so now I'm sure they're like, oh God, here comes John again. He's probably going to beg for gas money. What do you do?
Well, I hope they're not saying that.
May I recommend that we have a regime change to help that situation? How are we doing on time?
We have 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So there's more than enough time to rant and tirade about how much we hate George W. Bush.
Okay. Well, no, there's not nearly enough time.
Well, there's enough time to just, do a really short
But we do have a lot of tea here. We could try slamming what's left of the tea.
And have a frenzied tirade about...
Yeah, what you got there? Which one has the most in it?
This one's just under halfway, maybe about halfway.
Okay, well, this is a lot less than halfway, but I finished this one off. May I have another pink thing, please?
Sure.
Okay. Don't you want a fuller cup? Don't you want enough tea? No, you need enough tea to feel it, my man. Can you?
Trying to avoid having to pee too much.
Well, anyway, I've been talking with my therapist. We've decided that I might be capable of delivering pizzas. Something. I've got to find employment. I'm looking. Okay, the mad scientist is looking for employment. So particularly if you run the orange peel and you need a sound man, let me know. I used to run a club with this fire rating of for 1,000 folks in it. It was actually a larger facility than, but about a similar size facility, and I did show after show after show there, and would like to do the same. In the orange peel, it's an environment I feel like I'd be comfortable in, and operating a sound system for that size crowd.
Well, then how come you don't have that job?
Well, I went there when they first opened, and I assumed, in my what is it when you think very well of yourself? In my own conceit, I just assumed that I would get that job because I assumed that I would be the only person in town with the qualifications, So I went in there and said and told them, "Oh, I know how to do that. I can do all this. I know how to do this. I know all that." And you should hire me to do it. And then after I had interviewed for the job and stuff, I got to thinking. I thought, well, just because I think I'm going to get that job doesn't necessarily mean I'll get the job. And it turned out to be that way. And then later I heard that the manager had told someone that he didn't want a know-it-all sound man. Now, I know what I do know about sound men is that that's basically the only flavor they come in. Whether they actually know anything or not, sound men only come in know-it-all. It's like, generally speaking, it's the rare sound man.
Indeed. So, because I generally try not to be a know-it-all, though occasionally I fail in that regard. But I generally try not to be a know-it-all.
Well, you know how I am. Do you ever hear me be a not know-it-all? I'm always a know-it-all, aren't I?
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't want you to.
I'd say you're pretty qualified to have that attitude about sound, though. But the manager wanted somebody that would just do what he was told, and that was that.
Something like that. I honestly believe that I could make their. Now I don't mean to insult whoever's running the sound there now, and I don't even know who it is or anything like that. And they're probably pretty good, but I suspect that, I mean, what I do know about the system, what little of the system I do know, I've had a little look at it. I suspect that they're not getting out of it everything they could get, and personally, I have from the beginning felt that there is a lack of realism to the sound there. And you, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm like into realism. That's like one of my things. And somehow or other, the sound there has always seemed too affected and too I don't know how to explain it, mechanical or reproduced, kind of sound to it, instead of being the realism that I always strive for. And so I believe that I could probably, and a lot of this, it's a matter of taste, or, you know what I'm saying? That too. But I believe, I believe, at least according to my taste, that I could probably improve the sound over anything they've had thus far, in using the same system, but with a few minor adjustments, probably. So I don't know. Here, this is what we'll do.
We've got about 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, in our 5 minutes, let's see. We'll play some of my recordings. I'll make it sound like this.
And what is this it's playing?
This is Low Down Travelers. I play this all the time. A local band, local blues, old-timey blues music. You want to hear something?
Sure.
Yeah, I can start it from the beginning again.
No, it's fine, just like this.
I'll start it from the beginning again, so that you can hear it go. But you got to keep moving. You know why? We got to have something moving on the screen. It is a scientifically proven fact that everything is a lot more like it is now than it ever has been. And as long as we got something moving on the screen and noise coming out of the box, people will sit and watch it. That's right. That's right.
And watch Mount Dungeon most Thursdays, 11 p.m. right here on Channel 12.